ફાડાના પ્રેસિડેન્ટ CS વિઘ્નેશ્વર સાહેબ જોડાઈ ગયા છે. ફાડા દ્વારા આજે જૂન મહિનાના વેચાણના આંકડા તેમજ પહેલા ત્રિમાસિકના નાણાકીય વર્ષ 24ના પહેલા ત્રિમાસિકના જે ટ્રેન્ડ છે એ જાહેર કરવામાં આવ્યા છે ને એના પર આજે આપણે ખાસ કરીને ચર્ચા કરવી છે. આપણી સાથે ફાડા પ્રેસિડેન્ટ CS વિઘ્નેશ્વર સાહેબ જોડાઈ ગયા છે. વિઘ્નેશ્વર સર, વેલકમ ટુ CNBC Bajar and very good afternoon. First of all, I want to know that all the segments have a growth in retail sales in the month of June, and even in two-wheelers we have seen a roughly growth of 8%. CV and tractor has seen a growth of 4 and 5%, but the PV, the passenger vehicle segment, is still under pressure. How are you looking at the overall trend which is shaping in the first quarter of the financial year?
So the beginning of the financial year, we had already said that the PV would be growing at the lower single digits. So we are seeing that happen. And even last month, the growth was at about 2.45%, which was quite decent and within expected levels. When you look at the overall industry growth for year on year in June 2025 versus June 2024, we were at about 4.84% overall growth. The two-wheeler grew at about 4.73%. The passenger vehicles again grew. The tractors grew at about 8.08%, which is a good growth for tractors, which also shows that the rural market is doing well. The rains have been good. The kharifs, so the crops, the minimum support prices have been useful for this. Apart from that, one major growth which directly impacts the reason for the impact from the government capex spending is that the commercial vehicle has grown decently at 6.6, but moreover the construction equipment segment has grown really 55%, which is fantastic. Usually when the capex of government, the spend is coming, the commercial vehicle and the construction equipment industry will do well. So this also does good for the long run, because if these two industries do well, it slowly will see the effect on the two-wheeler, three-wheeler and also the passenger segment.
એટલે જો ખાસ કરીને અહીંયાથી વાત એમ છે કે ગવર્મેન્ટ સરકાર દ્વારા જે મૂડી ખર્ચ છે એ વધારવામાં આવ્યો છે, એને લઈને ખાસ કરીને CV સેગમેન્ટની અંદર એક સારો ગ્રોથ જોવા મળ્યો છે અને કન્સ્ટ્રક્શન વેહિકલની અંદર પણ એક બહુ મોટો ગ્રોથ આ ક્વાર્ટરની અંદર જોવા મળ્યો છે, એટલે એના પર એક ખાસ ફોકસ રાખવાનું. સર, એઝ યુ હેવ મેન્શન ધેટ રૂરલ ડિમાન્ડ ઇઝ રિકવરિંગ, હાઉ ઇઝ ડેટા સ્ટીલ ઇન્ડિકેટિંગ ધ રૂરલ કન્ટિન્યુઝ ટુ આઉટ પરફોર્મ ધ અર્બન? હાઉ આર યુ લુકિંગ એટ ધ ડિમાન્ડ ઇન અર્બન વર્સિસ રૂરલ markets currently?
The rural markets have been doing really well in the last 1.5 to 2 years. In fact, it has been driving the auto industry in India. It also shows that the rural market, the minimum support prices, different schemes where the government is working, and the different farmers from different states are also doing well, because the monsoons have been quite decent in the last few years. So this year again, the monsoon has been in advance. Nearly 106% monsoon rains was, the reality has come. So apart from that, we also see that the rural market drive has been an engine of growth. So this is helping. In the urban market, there has been some pain. The pain is the fact that salaries are not growing as fast as the vehicle cost. And the reason for the vehicle cost going up was one is safety measures, other one is environmental reasons, where vehicles are becoming more and more cleaner and therefore a little bit more expensive.
જે જુઓ ખાસ કરીને અહીંયાથી જે પ્રકારે સરકારી સ્કીમોનો લાભ અહીંયાથી ગ્રામ્ય વિસ્તારોની અંદર મળી રહ્યો છે, ત્યાંથી એક સારી માંગ આવી રહી છે, એવો એક મત છે, એટલે એના પર એક નજર રાખીશું. સર, I just want to ask you about the finance front, as your survey has indicated that finance constraint and variant shortage are moderating. How things are shaping place in this particular finance front, because we have seen the biggest rate cut in last 6 months by RBI. Is it helping customers to buy the new vehicles, and what's your take? What's your take on that?
The rate cuts from the RBI are welcome and definitely goes on to help the customers to purchase vehicles. But it takes a few weeks to a month or two for these rate cuts to be brought down to the consumer level. We have seen some rate cuts. Some NBFCs and banks have been very aggressive and they've given these rate cuts quickly. Rate cuts matter, but rate cuts alone may not play a point because there's also the weather, there's seasonality, and even recently the tariffs, the tariff war, if I can call it, this also has a negative effect. But overall, I think we are on a strong footing and the industry will do well in the near term future.
એટલે જો ખાઈ રહ્યા છે ખાસ કરીને વ્યાજદર કાપથી એકલાથી કંઈ નથી થતું, અન્ય પણ ફેક્ટર્સ અને ડિમાન્ડ અને સિઝનનાલિટી પણ અહીંયાથી એક ફોકસ કરે છે, પરંતુ રેટ કટથી ચોક્કસથી એક ડિમાન્ડની અંદર થોડુંક આપણને અપટીક જોવા મળ્યું છે, એટલે એના પર એક ધ્યાન રાખીશું. સર, આઈ જસ્ટ want to talk about the PV segment in a very detail that we have seen a good growth of 2% in June and even in a Q1. But one segment that has been lacklustering from past 2 to 3 years is a small car segment. Despite rate cut, despite tax cut, do you see any pickup in the small car segment, or everyone wants to go for a bigger car nowadays? What's your take on that?
The car industry and the two-wheeler industry, both of it, in India, what we have seen is the premiumization. People want to go for a slightly larger product, slightly more loaded product in whatever they buy. So we've been seeing this happen. But however, there are a lot of opportunity and space for the lower end entry-level segment of the passenger vehicles to do well. We've been seeing that it has been, as you rightly mentioned, for the last 2-3 years, it has been a little bit damp. But however, there are manufacturers who are pushing these vehicles with great schemes, good discounts. So there's opportunity still. But however, we are seeing that a lot of customers are upgrading to the next level. Today, it is not the cost of the car, it is the EMI which matters. So probably customers are going for a slightly larger car and they are spreading out their EMI to more months. Here, we also need to note that small cars definitely are the backbone of the industry, and the rate cuts, the cut in terms of rates, in terms of IT income tax slabs also will go on to help. We're yet to see the change coming, but I'm sure these things will go on to help the entry level customers to buy the cars which they desire.
એટલે જુઓ, ખાસ કરીને અહીંયાથી મહત્ત્વની વાત કે ભાઈ પ્રીમિયમાઇઝેશન તરફ ગ્રાહકો વધી રહ્યા છે, પરંતુ જેમ જેમ આ ટેક્સ કટ અને રેટ કટનો ફાયદો અર્થતંત્રની અંદર આપણને આવતો દેખાશે, તેમ કદાચ આપણને અહીંયા પણ એક માંગ નાની કારની અંદર જોવા મળે, એટલે એના પર એક ફોકસ રાખતા રહીશું. એન્ડ આઈ જસ્ટ વોન્ટ ટુ આસ્ક અબાઉટ ધ ઇન્વેન્ટરી લેવલ ઇન અ ખાસ particularly passenger vehicle segment. Are they looking higher than usual? Because see, from today there will be so many festival season will come after September or onwards. Will you see this is a seasonality factor in inventory building?
So this happened last year. So there was inventory building over a period of time until festive season. So as FADA, we recommend 21 days of inventory. We are already at 55 days inventory, which has been increasing a few days in the last few months. But last year we got to very, very unhealthy inventory. I mean, it was about 80-85 days, which is 3-4 times what we recommend. So definitely we should not get there because there were huge losses at dealerships. The interest costs really ate up a lot into our margins. So this doesn't make any sense at all. We've been speaking with our OEMs not to take it to such high levels. Even the current levels are unsustainable. We need to bring it to half the levels which we have right now.
Okay, as sir, you have mentioned that the past year you have faced the problem of margins, and how are the dealers' margin holding up amid price hikes and input cost fluctuation nowadays? Or if you can tell us about the last month or the last quarter, what was the level?
The level of discounts have been high because the level of discounts is directly proportional to the level of stock we have. The higher stock we have, the higher discounts we have. So we are having a discounted period right now, and I hopefully at some point of time we are able to reduce this, and the OEMs and the dealers need to work together for this to happen.
એટલે જો ખાસ કરીને બે સવાલની અંદરનો રસ એ છે કે અત્યારે પેસેન્જર વ્હીકલની અંદર ઇન્વેન્ટરી વધી રહી છે અને એને કારણે આવનારા સમયમાં જે ડીલર્સ છે એમને થોડીક તકલીફો થઈ શકે છે. એટલે અત્યારે ડિસ્કાઉન્ટેડ પ્રાઇસ પર તમે ડીલર્સ વેચી રહ્યા છે અને આ જે ઇન્વેન્ટરી છે એને એક યોગ્ય જગ્યાએ યોગ્ય લેવલ પર લાવવાનો પ્રયાસ અહીંયાથી ખાસ કરીને થઈ રહ્યો છે. એટલે એના પર એક ફોકસ રાખીશું. એન્ડ આઈ જસ્ટ વોન્ટ ટુ ટોક અબાઉટ ધ ટ્રેક્ટર સેગમેન્ટ બિકોઝ ઇટ ઇઝ showing a good growth in the last quarter as Kharif showing is getting earlier, the monsoon spread is good. Do you see the financial year 26 will be good for tractors? What's your outlook on tractor segment overall?
The tractor segment has been having a very up and down the last couple of years. But this year, I think they should be doing well because the first quarter also they have grown at about 6.29%. Last year, year on year, they have grown at about 8.68%. And even from last month to this month, the growth has been for about 7.25%. So I think the growth is good. The news which we're getting from the rural areas has been very, very impactful and positive. So I think this year they would be growing at very high single digit growths. Probably 8 to 9% is what we're expecting.
એટલે જો આ વર્ષે ટ્રેક્ટર સેગમેન્ટની અંદર 8-9% ગ્રોથની અપેક્ષા છે. એટલે એક સારી એવી માંગ અહીંયાથી ટ્રેક્ટરની વધતી જોવા મળી શકે છે. એટલે એના પર એક ફોકસ રાખીશું. આઈ જસ્ટ વોન્ટ ટુ આસ્ક અબાઉટ ધ ઇવી ડિમાન્ડ ઓવરઓલ. વોટ ઇઝ ધ ઇવી ડિમાન્ડ ઇઝ શેપિંગ ઇન Q1 particularly in two-wheeler and passenger vehicle segment? What's your take on that? How will it improve going on?
The two-wheeler segment has been doing really well in terms of EV. We've been seeing the penetration slowly improve, specifically in the scooter segment. But right now, there are also in the motorcycle segment, there are manufacturers who are slowly coming in. So that will take some time. So the EV story in the two-wheelers is strong in India. When it comes to the passenger vehicle segment, we've been seeing a lot of activity there, new introductions, which has really helped the EV passenger vehicle segment grow beyond 4% market share, which has never happened. Last 2-3 months, we've been seeing EV go beyond 4%, which is good. It is a question of not only EV, it's a question of alternative fuel. You have CNG, you have LPG, you have hybrids and electric vehicles. All four of them constitute nearly 35% of the sales in passenger vehicles. This wasn't so, let's say, 2-3 years ago. So we are seeing that the diesel and pure petrol, slowly they are coming down. They used to constitute about 90%, let's say 4-5 years ago. Right now they're constituting 65%. We see that alternative fuels grow in the next few years and slowly it will be replacing pure diesels and pure petrols on the road.
એટલે જો ખાસ કરીને ઇલેક્ટ્રિક વ્હીકલ અને બીજા જે વૈકલ્પિક ઉર્જાવાળા જે વ્હીકલો છે તે અત્યારે 30-35% જેટલું કુલ વેચાણ ધરાવે છે પેસેન્જર વ્હીકલની અંદર. એટલે પેટ્રોલ અને ડીઝલનું વેચાણ ઓછું થઈ રહ્યું છે. CNG, LNG કે હાઇબ્રિડ કે EV સેગમેન્ટની અંદર એક સારી ડિમાન્ડ જોવા મળી રહી છે. એટલે એના પર એક ફોકસ ખાસ કરીને રાખીશું. સર, લાસ્ટલી આઈ જસ્ટ વોન્ટ ટુ આસ્ક અબાઉટ ધ ઇશ્યુ that we are hearing from last 1.5 months. It's about a rare earth magnet issue. Still it is a concern for EV industry. What are you hearing from the companies and dealers regarding this?
The dealers are still in the dark. We have not been really told clearly by our manufacturers regarding what is availability of vehicles, what is the situation. I'm sure that all our OEMs, the associations, and also the government is trying very hard to secure rare earth magnets for India, for the industry to use, because if it doesn't come in quickly, if we don't solve this fast, a lot of people's livelihoods will be put at stake. So I'm sure everyone are working hard, but we haven't heard clearly from our OEMs regarding what they plan and what's the situation and what is the contingency and what we need to do. Yes, I keep hearing that EVs are more affected than ICE vehicles, but ICE vehicles also will be affected if rare earth magnets are not made available to the industry.
એટલે જુઓ ખાસ કરીને અહીંયાથી રેર અર્થ મેગ્નેટને લઈને અત્યારે સરકાર અને ઇન્ડસ્ટ્રી કામ કરી રહી છે એટલે એના પર એક ખાસ ફોકસ રાખવાનું રહેશે બટ ડ્યુ ટુ ધીસ પ્રોબ્લેમ દેટ વી આર ફેસિંગ ફ્રોમ લાસ્ટ 1.5 months or roughly 2 months, do you see any waiting period increasing particularly in EV segment if you have noticed, or is it just the waiting period is concerned about the model wise is going on?
So when SIAM, they gave they released their thoughts about this whole issue. When they're the SIAM, or the Vehicle Manufacturing Association, they said there would be production issues in May and June, but May has gone, June has gone, we are in July. I'm happy there are no production issues, but there is no clarity either from them. I'm sure they're working very hard to solve this issue, but we as dealers or customers will really appreciate if there is more clarity regarding what kind of supply and how the supply might be affected in the future. Yes, we would be happy if we have more clarity, but there isn't, manufacturers have not come to us and said, please stock up vehicles. There's going to be an issue regarding vehicle availability. Not as yet.
એટલે જુઓ અત્યારે ખાસ કરીને મે અને જૂનની અંદર ઉત્પાદન પર એક અસર આવવાની વાત હતી. હજી જુલાઈની અંદર પણ કોઈ એવી અસર આવતી દેખાઈ નથી. હજી સુધી જે ઉત્પાદકો છે, કાર મેકર્સ છે, એમના દ્વારા પણ હજી સુધી કોઈ આ બાબતે સ્પષ્ટતા કરવામાં નથી આવી એટલે એના પર એક ખાસ ધ્યાન રાખતા રહીશું. ઓન દેટ નોટ, વિઘ્નેશ્વર સર, થેન્ક યુ વેરી મચ ફોર જોઈનિંગ વિથ અસ એન્ડ શેરિંગ ધ ઇનસાઇટ ફ્રોમ ધ